Good afternoon, a good Erev Shabbos to all of you. Yesterday, the Hasidic world, the Chabad world, and the Jewish world at large lost a uniquely gifted man, a once-in-a-generation genius. The Lubavitcher Rebbe's oral scribe, Rebbe Khan, of blessed memory, Olav Shalom. Rebbe passed away at as he was affectionately known, passed away at 91 years old. He was a man who, for 42 years straight, he had a unique gift of memory, a unique gift of deep understanding, and the Rebbe would give these long talks on a Shabbos for sometimes 5-6 hours straight with no one able to record them because it was Shabbos and no one able to write them down. And after Shabbos, Rebbe would come and he would literally have an audience around him and he would verbatim give over word by word in detail of what the Rebbe said. And he had a unique gift to be able to delve deep into the back of his memory and remember things that were said many years ago. He literally wrote and helped bring to print hundreds of books of the Rebbe's talks and thoughts on Hasidic philosophy and teaching. And he was just a remarkable man. I had the honor of knowing him, of meeting him. In fact, when I was a exchange student in Miami, I had the honor of bringing him for a Shabbos there and arranging him spending a few days there. And I have very special memories. He had no children, but he had thousands of spiritual children. And his impact continues to today. So I want to dedicate, and will continue through all the teachings, I want to dedicate my talk to him. But I also wanted to speak about Tisha B'Av. Tisha B'Av is the saddest day on the Jewish calendar, which happens tomorrow night into Sunday night. It's a day we commemorate the destruction of the Holy Temple in Jerusalem by the Romans, both temples. And there's a fascinating story in the tractate of Talmud, where the Talmud tells us a remarkable story. Rabbi Akiva, one of the greatest sages, was together with some of his friends, Rabbi Gamliel, Rabbi Yeshua, and some of the other great sages, decided to make a pilgrimage to go to Rome to try to beseech the Romans to alleviate some of the stress of the Jewish people who were under tremendous suffering and pain. And they were only a little bit out of the city of Jerusalem when they were able to already hear the celebration and the singing and the partying in Rome. Now, Jerusalem was literally still on fire and people were suffering in hunger. So many had died. And here they were seeing the celebration that was taking place in Rome. And the rabbis started crying. All the rabbis broke down in tears. How could they not? They thought of their people that were suffering, their people that they were coming for now to beseech. Here they were celebrating. Rabbi Akiva was with the rabbis, started laughing. And the rabbis asked him, "What are you laughing about? Look how sad this is." And Rabbi Akiva said, "I'm laughing because if this is what God gives these people who desecrate his word, imagine what he has in store for us when he restores the Holy Temple and when things will get better." And the question, of course, is, I don't understand. What was Rabbi Akiva saying? Imagine you walk into a Shiva house and you see someone crying and you start laughing and they say, "Why are you laughing?" You say, "Oh, because I have hope for the future." It's irrelevant what your hope is. But these people are suffering. What are you laughing about? And I once heard a beautiful interpretation, which I think is very powerful. Rabbi Akiva was telling his friends, the rabbis, the sages, he said, the reason why I'm laughing is because you're crying. If you weren't crying, if you had made peace with the suffering, peace with the destruction, peace with the reality that we were exiled and that we don't have Jerusalem, then I would actually cry. But the fact that I see you, the sages, crying, I see that you are not making peace with the situation and you are bent on changing it and demanding a change to it, that allows me to laugh. It's a powerful thought, because basically the idea of Jewish mourning, the destruction of the temple, is not just to mourn and to live in the past and to be sad It's about not giving in to the reality and changing the reality for good. When you see suffering, when you see pain, there's just making peace with it, or there's remembering and pushing and insisting that things have to change for the better. And God and the Torah wants the Jewish people not to make peace with suffering, not to make peace with exile, but to ask, to beseech, to insist that it has to change. And that was what Rabbi Akiva said. I could only laugh because you cry. My friends, they say the famous story with Napoleon that once he came to a shul in Paris and he saw Jews sitting on the floor and crying, and he said, what's going on? And they said, the Jews, they're crying for the destruction of the temple. He says, where was the temple destroyed and when? And they said, 1900 years ago in Jerusalem. He says, 1900 years ago, and they're still in mourning. And then he said something that's mentioned many times. He said, a nation that mourns its temple 1900 years after its destruction will merit to have it rebuilt. God has given us the gift where He gave us back Jerusalem. And our insistence and our demand that we want a temple, that we want a time of redemption, an era of peace, an era of love, an era where it will be about knowledge and pursuit of godliness, not about fighting and about bloodshed, is what's going to bring that reality to come. And that's why Rabbi Akiva could say that because you cry, I could laugh. We could laugh because we know that our insistence and our stubbornness and our desire for change is going to bring about that change. God bless you. Shabbat Shalom, and see you tomorrow.